Hello people that know how's it doing. Today you have to bear with me on this because it will take a while to explain what happened and what's going on at the moment in time in Leitrim and Carrick and Shannon. So everybody, I suppose anybody who's interested in Irish politics, who interested in, let's just say, Gemma O'Doherty or the Irish Patriot, you would know already that obviously when there's been a asylum seekers wedding to Carrick and Shannon about last week. It was last week. Actually 2 weeks ago. And there was 30 of them. I think there was 30 or 30 something. There was 30 something of them anyway. Didn't tell the community. They just randomly turned up. And obviously that's not right to be done. If that was me, if the government, the only reason why they do this, the government, is so people can't object and people can't give out about it, and that's why they just fired them into the town. Didn't have a clue who they were. It could have been, you can see why the community was a bit nervous and a bit upset because they were young men. You couldn't one of them could have had a God knows what. It's a bit. It's understand. I wouldn't mind if it was children and women, but these were young men. I know I wouldn't. This is what the big uproar was about, and I didn't want to address it then, but I want to address it now. And obviously, Irish Patriot and Grand Toro, I can't pronounce Grand Toro, two patriots, two Irish patriots, obviously went down to Leitrim, Carrick and Shannon, to film and to talk about mass immigration and everything like that. They went to talk. They done a live stream at a hotel in Leitrim, in Carrick and Shannon to be precise. And obviously everybody probably knows the story already. Somebody came up and threw, I think it was Coke or milkshake. I really don't know at the moment in time. And obviously there was curry powder on it. I know that for a fact. And you know what I just want to say, because people wanted to say, because I do kind of the same thing as he does. I know, people call me far right, but I'm not that far right, to be honest. I'm not really that far right. I suppose you could say I have a bit of a heart, but I know, this person who done it didn't get charged or nothing, and the only thing I have to say to her, the people who done it, is I know people in politics, in day-to-day life even, you get people who say differently, think differently to you, no matter if you're on the left or the right of society. You have people who think differently, express their opinions differently, are more aggressive towards opinions, political opinions. Some people are less aggressive. But at the end of the day, being violent in politics, and this is a fact that I learned, being violent in politics never really works out. It always puts you in a bad light and puts you in a bad position. And it's always better to, this person, I'm sure if the Irish Patriot and the other Grant Tower, can't say his name, he's a journalist, I can't think of his name, he's like Gemma O'Doherty, he's literally in my head and I can't say it. But, throwing something at these people who are trying to spread awareness, mass immigration is a problem in every country in Europe. It is an issue, I think, I'd say on behalf of Leitrim, I think if you randomly known there was 30 young men that you didn't have a clue that was coming, that just randomly came at 9 o'clock in the morning, when your kids were outside playing, you'd be a bit worried. I have to say, everybody I talked to agreed with me, saying that's true. I would be worried. And we can agree on that, because that was wrong what happened. The government should have been. I denounce the government for doing that, because at least if they would have said, these men are from this country here, this man has a criminal record, this man here, one of them has a criminal record, the community might be more open to let them stay for a while. I don't know how long they could be still there, I don't know. I wasn't talking to anybody from Leitrim in a while, Carrick and Shannon precisely. But as we all know, what happened with throwing curry powder and all that, it could have blinded them. The curry powder is a nasty substance. But as I'm going to say to her, if the people are watching, the people who done it, the people who know who done it, obviously I'm not I know politics can get out of hand sometimes, and you do feel like somebody could be in. Like, it's hard to explain, but I'm sure people get what I'm saying. Like, I know, like, some people in the far right, people like Gemma O'Doherty, and people like the Irish Patriot, sometimes they could say something, and I often say myself that they don't mean, and something that they could offend people. Like, people get offended very easily nowadays, um, which is okay, because everybody has feelings, and that goes into your feelings. Um, but throwing something at anybody or hurting anybody in physical way is not something that you should do in politics or anything in day-to-day life, because it solves nothing. It really solves nothing. If this person who done it to the Irish Patriot and to Grand Thoughts or what, it puts them to push forward. And if that was me, if I'd done it to them, and even though I would never throw anything at a person's face. Believe me, even if I was in the biggest tick mood in the whole country, I would never throw anything at the person's face. That's one thing. Even if there was a substance, that you're damn right I wouldn't throw it into anybody's face. If it was a Coke or something, maybe it might be a bit inclined, but if it was something in it, I wouldn't throw it. And it's always, when I found, when I met 2 or 3 people that were deadly hard to talk to, that was seriously hard to talk to in politics. I hated the way they deemed Irish people who were from another country. I hate the way they deemed Irish people as just people who sat down and like a little doggy and listened to the EU. And I could have hit him with something. I could have hit him if I wanted to. But I went and I debated them. I was like, this is, we don't have a choice. The EU because our government is afraid of the EU. It's not the Irish people who's afraid, it's the government that's afraid of the EU. And I was trying to debate him. I wasn't trying to get violent. I could have got violent if I wanted to with him, but I didn't want to, because that's something I don't do in politics. I debated him, and he at the end of the day, he kind of got around to understanding where I was coming from. Even though it took me a long time to get through to him, to say it's not the Irish people who doesn't want, the Irish people don't want a thing to do with the EU, but it's the government that's just leeching onto the EU, and the EU are using us and everything. And I tried to explain that to him. And at the end of the day, we could see eye to eye, because he understood where I was coming from. I understood where he was coming from. And at the end of the day, we spoke. I spoke to him only a while ago too, about something I was talking to him. So as I said, if she, this person who done it, if she went up to him and spoke and said, I don't agree with you on this subject on mass immigration. I think they should do this and I think they should do that. I know, because people say she's the far left, as they call it, the communist side. But at the end of the day, I'm sure, at the end of the day, you could be the worst enemies in the world. And I'm sure everybody could agree that what happened in Carrick and Shannon with the migrants, I'm sure that's what she was upset by. I don't really know. I don't know the full story, as I said. That's why I tried to wait off for a while. But I'm sure she could agree. I'm sure anybody would agree that having 30 people turn up in the middle of God knows when, who you don't have a clue where they are, where they're from, or who they are. I'm sure everybody can agree on that. I'm sure that's one thing everybody can agree on. Especially with children, living near children, as you don't know. And because they were young men too. Now, loads of people ask me too, did I think she should have been arrested straight away? There was obviously video evidence and other things. I don't think it says in the Irish, in the law and Ireland, I don't think it says about throwing drakes. I don't think that's an offence. But throwing a drake with a substance in it is an offence, I think. It is an offence, if I was remembering. I'm just trying to, that's why I'm blankly staring off. I'm just trying to remember what it says. Yeah, it is substance, yes. Poison, no substance, yeah, it's substance. So, curry powder, stuff like that. So, yeah, that is no offence. But if she threw, let's just say, Drake Lucas said at him, that really wouldn't, maybe he could get an assault charge put on it. Depends on the it depends when it goes up to the courts. It depends on the judge, but most likely they just shrug it off, the judges. Obviously the guards didn't deal with the issue, just to say too. But that's a story. That's a story for another day. Like, it could be still going on. That's why it took a while to respond. I let the guards do their work and, do their stuff. And I don't want to absolutely put more fuel onto the fire. Like, I didn't want to talk about this at all. I didn't want to talk about it. I was going to talk about the migrant. I didn't want to talk about the substance being thrown in the... I can't think of his name. God. The Irish patriot and... Oh, God, I can't think of his name now. But it's... As I say to anybody, and this is... Take this as a life story for anybody who's watching me, and anybody that I'm not here anymore, and when you say life in 50 years' time, you'd be like, this clown from Cavan was like... And this is what I'm going to say. In politics, you might not like what somebody says. You might hate it. You might dishonour it. You might think it's unacceptable. But at the end of the day, people have their opinion. People have their choices. People have their different ideologies. And we can't change people's views. We can't push views into people's head. Because that's democracy. People are allowed to think freely. People are allowed to speak freely. People are allowed to choose what party they support. To choose what politicians they vote for. At the end of the day, we can only hope that people will have some common sense and have a bit of respect, because that's what democracy is all about. Because, as I say, I might like potato crisps. This other person might not like salt and vinegar crisps, and we might get into a fight over it. But at the end of the day, that's his opinion. That's my opinion. We're freely to say it. Nobody can say we're right or wrong. Nobody has the right answer, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, thank you for watching. I know it took a long time to explain. I didn't want to talk about this at all, just to put it out there. I didn't really want to talk about it at all, because it's bad, and it's bad enough for 30 people turning up in the doorstep, and I didn't really want to get involved in the criminal issue, because obviously it's still an ongoing investigation, at least as far as I know. And obviously I don't want drama. I don't want any hassle. That's the thing. I don't want hassle from people saying, he done this and he done that, and this fellow done that, and this. Like, I just don't want any hassle. Like, loads of people ask me, because they kind of deem me as the same kind of ideology and rest of that crack. But really, I'm not really the same. I'm kind of in the middle of social liberal and, conservative, maybe, a tiny bit of conservative, but I'm not, it's hard to explain. It's really, really hard to explain. Thank you for watching then. And subscribe for more. I know people might be a bit ticked off with me saying a few things, but, just understand where I'm coming from, and respect my view. Respect my view on this. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more. Bye.